First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here today. Let me just briefly say that the loss of a life in any community is a tragedy. I believe that the way a department reacts and responds to that loss shows its commitment to that community. In this case, the commitment we have was supported by several different agencies. I can't express enough how much I appreciate the help from the Sheriff's Department, the District Attorney's Department, the FBI, the ATF, U.S. Marshals, and the Alabama Fusion Center. This is still an ongoing investigation. We apprehended 3 persons, wanted on other items, the persons of interest at this time. This investigation, like I said, is still ongoing, and we need the public's help. This is far from over. We need information, we need what people know, and help us locate and prosecute this case to its fullest extent. Again, I want to thank all the different agencies that assisted us with this. We couldn't have done it without them. But on a personal note, I'd like to thank Sergeant Bradley, Detective Guyton, and Detective Ferris, the lead detectives on this, for their help in this investigation.
Good afternoon. I'm Jimmy Hart, District Attorney in Etowah County. I want to reiterate what the Chief said. These guys have been out since the first shots were fired in this case. We've got a lot of stuff on social media and phone calls and this, that, and the other about the lack of visible action in the community, but I can assure you that we've had every agency, every resource in this county, state, federal, available, working this case since the first incident occurred. I do want to reiterate that there are 3 subjects in custody. They're in custody for unrelated issues. We have warrants on them for unrelated matters. They are persons of interest, whether they're witnesses or possible defendants or not at this time. We're still going through that process. You have to weigh commenting to the media about an ongoing investigation, so we don't want to do too much of that. But at the same time, you've got to weigh the interest of the community and kind of having some clue as to what's going on. I want to assure as best I can the community that every asset that we have is being used, and I think we've got a pretty good handle on what's going on. It's not a mass kind of thing. It's an isolated incident. And I think we kind of know what's going on behind the scenes that cause these things to happen. So do as much as we can with the public to rest assured that it's not a mass murder type thing going on. And the sheriff can comment more about that later. But in any event, I'm going to reiterate what the Chief said and thank them for the assets they put out in the community, and the DA's office will be ready once the case is presented to us to prosecute the individuals involved. And I appreciate you guys being here.
And Brent Talent, Supervisory Special Agent with the FBI here based in Gadsden. I just want to real quickly comment. We lend our support fully to our local law enforcement partners here on this investigation, and whatever resources that we can help bring to further the investigation. Is currently, like DA and Chief said, still ongoing, so we need people's help to bring the information forward to keep this investigation moving in that direction.
Rob, can you talk about the types of operations last night?
My name is Rob Savage. I'm the commander of the Joint Special Operations Group, which is the tactical element of Etowah County. We were requested to assist last night in the apprehension. As a result of that, there were 3 separate tactical operations conducted. Without going into a great deal, if you have questions later, I can answer that. Thank you.
And I'll close it out for us. This operation went on without a hitch last night. A lot of things were happening throughout the county, throughout the city. Officers were running leads down everywhere. And without the group that was brought together, and I thank the district attorney for, he hosted a meeting yesterday morning, put everybody in one room, and we all sit down and we come out with a plan. and by, early morning hours, the plan had been executed. There was a lot of people had questions of what was going on, and there's reasons that we don't release everything that's going on. And this investigation is still ongoing. These folks are doing an outstanding job. I think that Chief Crane and his office have more information as this investigation goes further. But right now, we ask the public if they have any information. If there's a vehicle we're looking for, and I think Scott will put it up there, the vehicle, and also the 3 subjects that were arrested last night, on unrelated charges to anything to do with the crime. He'll roll them through there and he'll be able to get their information. But at this time, if there's any questions for any individual, we'll take some of them brief. We're not going to get into anything related to the case itself as far as any of the shootings, but we'll answer what questions we can at this time.
Can you say whether all 3 of these people were arrested in Etowah County or even the Gadsden city limits?
All 3 of these were arrested within the city limits of Gadsden.
Did they go peacefully?
Well, there was tactical operations. I would say it went as peacefully as it can. These are subjects of crimes that were committed that are dangerous in nature itself, and so the tactical operations that was carried out by the FBI and the Joint Special Operations Group, along with the marshals and ATF, they take them seriously.
Are y'all ready to say at this point whether the murder of Mr. Brown yesterday and the double murder of the Megan Bridge over the weekend are related?
I don't think that is even in question. We'll answer that question at this time. That would be something the DA or Chief Crane can answer.
And I got numerous questions about this next one yesterday. What happened to Mr. Brown yesterday? That's the last homicide we've had in Etowah County since then, right?
Yes, that's the thing. Social media had shootings all over East Gadsden, Walmart, and everywhere else. There has not been any other shootings in this county, this city, since that happened. Any other questions for anybody up here?
Any word on if this is gang related?
Chief, to my knowledge, right now, there's no information that would lead us to think this was gang related.
Well, I'm not getting, what did Antoine Nancy have to do with it? He was arrested for theft and domestic violence. What would this tie this up into?
That question, ma'am, that's what I'm saying. We're not saying these are suspects in the murder in any way whatsoever. Antoine was arrested on an outstanding warrant for domestic violence.
When they come and told my daughter, they just tore her house up, those small.
We're not going to discuss that in this meeting. If you have a complaint or something like that, you need to take it up with the proper authorities, okay?
Who is the proper authority?
Either me or the chief.
Okay.
There was one subject turned herself in this morning.
Who was that?
That would have been Cedric Orlando Young.
Oh, he turned himself in?
He turned himself in this morning.
Sheriff, can you speak to whether or not these were fully automatic weapons? We've heard that these were high-powered rifles, AK-47 type.
We're not anywhere close to being able to release that information yet.
Rob may be able to answer this question. We had a lot of people contact me on social media, and even a couple by phone said that they heard helicopters buzzing all over the place. Was that part of the tactical operations you described?
There was an aircraft overhead providing surveillance, aerial views. That was being relayed to the ground unit.
Was it the sheriff's office helicopter, or can you say at this point?
It was.
Any more questions for anybody up front?
Yeah, again, referring to questions I got through social media yesterday. Now, we know there were no further homicides after what happened to Mr. Brown on Kentucky Avenue. Hope Street kept coming up a whole lot in everybody's comments. That was the common denominator. Other than the 2 minor traffic accidents on Megan Boulevard and East Broad, was there any other police activity on Hope Street that may or may not be related to this?
The only thing I could think possibly that could have happened on Hope Street was a traffic stop for a ticket. We started getting calls into dispatch asking about Hope Street. I started receiving stuff on my cell phone, asking about it. I walked into dispatch and I said, what we got on Hope Street? And all my dispatchers said, we don't have anything. So we don't know where that came from.
Okay. One of the reasons we're here is there was so much going on yesterday. And we toyed a little bit yesterday about whether to do this earlier than we did. But we want to get these subjects into custody without harm to any individual, whether it be the folks, the people talking about, whoever. And we got that done. And at some point in time, you have to inform the public that they're safe. And that's why we're here today, to tell you this was an isolated incident. You know, it was not gang related. There was a reason one person did something to the other. We think we got a good idea as to why it happened and what happened and who did it. But what we want to do right now is two things. Number one, reassure the public that you've got the FBI, the SWAT team, the Sheriff's Department, DA's investigators, and there's some of the best investigative work by the city of Gadsden I've ever seen done ongoing right now. And we're at the front end of a long investigation. And what I want to do is basically this: assure the public that it's safe to roam the cabin, so to speak, as we hear an airplane. Number two, I want to solicit the help from people in the community that it's safe to come to see law enforcement if you have information. If you have information, now is the time to turn it over. We need it. I think it's safe to do so. You can do so in an anonymous way. And some of the things that we're trying to tie down that are just rumor, like the Hope Street incident. And, you know, I personally watched a traffic accident near Gadsden Regional yesterday turn into a 3-man shooting before I got past it. By the time I got to the Chinese restaurant, you know, I was hearing, you know, there were shots fired. So again, we have to weigh the public's interest to know that they're safe and weigh the compromising the investigation that we've got going on and any other issues. But again, as the sheriff said, the chief said, no other violent acts have happened since the incident where Mr. Brown was shot. But we do need the public's help, and we want the public to know that they're safe. That community is vital to this county, and we are, the patrols have been beefed up, and we're taking care of that. And any information that the public has at this time, I would assure them that if they call the Gadsden Police Department and ask for Investigator Bradley or anybody else on that case, that it's going to get processed, and they're professional enough to know how to handle that information, and those people will be safe from any retaliation or anything like that.
Mr. Brown, the other two people, as far as y'all know, as far as y'all can tell at this point, those were not random acts?
No, they're not random acts. We don't, I can say this, I don't think that any shooting that we've had so far has been a random act, period. And we're lucky there wasn't any collateral damage. You know, with the number of shots fired and things like that, you know, we're lucky that some children weren't in the street actually getting hurt. And that hasn't happened. And again, you know, we want to assure the public that we think at this point in time we've got a handle on the situation in and of itself. But as a prosecutor, I've got to prove somebody guilty of a crime at one point in time. And these guys have got to go out and collect the evidence to do that. And that's what they're doing right now. And again, we've kind of done a cost benefits analysis of coming up here today and telling you what we've got so far versus, you know, compromising whatever it takes for us to actually prosecute these cases one day. And, you know, I think the public interest went out today, and as far as details of the crime, I think we've released all we can at this point in time. But I will tell you this: as the investigation goes on and the public need to know it's still there, then we'll come back when we got something else for you and try to keep everybody informed. But again, I want the public to know that they're safe. And I want them to know that I need their information in order to prosecute a case with the people that kill these victims. And if they've got that, the Gadsden Police Department is the place they need to call.
Are y'all going to keep the individuals in custody until the investigation over, or they will handle that?
They will appear in front of the court and relating to the charges that they have, and a decision will be made by a judge as to whatever bond set in those cases.
Okay, thank you.
What does this car have to do with the investigation?
That's a sample vehicle of the vehicle they're looking for. That's not an actual vehicle.
Can you confirm that the car you're looking for has damage to it?
Yes. That vehicle there is a vehicle that was reported by witnesses to the scene that the perpetrators may have been driving. And I think it was a Ford 500 and a black Ford 500 and or gray, black or gray Ford 500. And we have been looking for that vehicle, and if you know that vehicle being somewhere, that's one of those things we'd ask you to call the city about. So we're kind of letting some information out to engage the community and see, you know, maybe I saw this car here, saw this car there, and connect that with some of the people that, you know, we've had as persons of interest and things like that, and solicit any information the community would get.
Is that for the first shooting of both shootings?
I think that was the first shooting.
I have a question. I drive a Chrysler 300, and I was just wondering how they get them two cars mixed up, because they tried to confiscate my car yesterday when we came up
I
there.
like I said, I'm a prosecutor, don't know anything about that. All right, thank you for being here, fellas.
One more question. Can you go into detail about how these three were apprehended?
I think the JSOC did their tactical operations on two of the individuals. One of the individuals, after hearing what happened to the first two, turned himself in.
Were they arrested in their homes?
They were arrested in a residence. I'm not sure who the owners of the home were.
Can you speak to the specific charges against them currently?
They were unrelated. I think they were burglary, theft, that kind of thing, just outstanding warrants that they had.
We'll run through it up there, and it'll be posted on there for you. All right, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
If you need